Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name's Andrew, and a couple of weeks ago I took this camera, the Belair, the Lomography Belair 6-12 out for a bit of a run. I had a mystery film in it. I'm going to play the footage that I took and made the video that I made while I was out trying that camera out, but I'd encourage you to hang around to the end to see what my comments are on this camera. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Andrew, and today is going to be something a little bit different. The camera I bought out is not particularly old. It's a Lomography Belair X6-12. It was made in the early teens, I believe. I was gifted this camera by my wife for a Christmas present in 2012. And unfortunately I wasn't so into film photography back in those days. I was all digital, so it hasn't had an awful lot of use. They were quite expensive. They were $600–700, I believe, which for it does have a glass lens, which is nice, but it is pretty basic. When it was new, it would take a battery and it would give you an automatically expose for you. It basically had a shutter range up to, I think, 1/25th of a second down to, I'm not quite sure, 30th of a second or something like that. But unfortunately, mine no longer actually works with the automatic exposure. Put a battery in it, it doesn't actually come to life. On the positive side, it then defaults to 1/25th of a second. You have two apertures which are listed as cloudy and sunny, and f8 and f16. What's actually interesting about this is when I pulled the camera out, which I hadn't seen it for quite some time, there's actually a roll of film in it. The only clue I've got as to what film is in it is that in the back here, where you used to you'd set the film speed, which is what would then make the automatic exposure work, it's set at ISO 100. So I'm going to take a punt and say I've got 100 ISO film in here. That 100 ISO film, I have no idea what sort of film it is. It is probably a Lomography film, because I was gifted a bunch of films with it. Most were from Lomography, but not all were from them. There was colour, black and white, and transparency type films, so it could be any of those. It would also now be expired, probably by 10 years. So not only do I not know what it is, I'm working with an expired film. So I'm just going to take a punt and shoot roughly to what I would think is probably around 50 ISO. I've taken a metering, and at f8 the aperture, the shutter speed should be about 2/50th of a second. Given my fastest shutter speed is 1/25th of a second, f8 works out at about a stop. 10 years, expired film, one stop. It's probably actually not going to be too bad, but we might get nothing as well. So I'm out at a place called Silverton at the moment, which is about 20 odd kilometres from Broken Hill, where I'm from. There is some really cool stuff around this area. I'm just going to take a wander around. First thing I'm going to do is have a look at this old relic and the old car over here, maybe see what we can take over there. Then I might wander into the actual township itself and take a few photos, see what we come up with. I quite like the idea that this is just a total mystery. I just have no idea what I'm shooting with and what I'm going to come up with, but come along for the ride and see what we get. One other thing is that the viewfinder you get on this is really basically only good for, well, I guess take a step back. This camera comes with templates for 6.9, 6.6 and 6x12 images, but the viewfinder really is only good for 6x12. It doesn't have any markings inside which indicate where 6.6 is, 6.9, so you basically just got to use your use a bit of a guess and say this is kind of the middle of it. I believe from what I've looked at with the actual inserts that I've got left that I'm shooting at 6.6 at the moment, or 6x6 at the moment, and I've got on the lens which is a 58mm lens, so quite a wide lens. So I'm just going to you do get two viewfinders. One is for the 58mm lens that it comes with, the other is for the 90, so you do at least get that. You can have a guesstimate on that. Unfortunately the flies are really bad out here at the moment, but let's go take some photos. Focusing of course is manual. You've basically got markings for 1 meter, 1.5 meters, 3 meters and infinity, so for the most part you are probably going to be shooting this thing at infinity, and just working from that at f8 and on a 58mm, which is on a 6x6 around 35mm roughly. You've got a fairly wide angle to work with. Unfortunately these cameras, you can't get them anymore. They were only manufactured, I believe, for a fairly short period of time. As I say, they were quite expensive for what you got, and didn't really seem to take the market by storm, unfortunately. But it is quite cool. I am going to do a video of this camera when I've got the 6x12 in, because I think that that's actually where this camera will shine. If it's going to be a cool camera, it is going to be with the 6x12, because that's a huge negative. Well, that's the end of the mystery roll. 12 shots, who knows? It was set on frame 1 when I started, so I went to frame 2, so I don't have full 12 shots, but who knows? Going to be interesting to find out what happens. Get the film out of the camera, get it sent away, and we'll see what comes back, and we'll have a look through them when they do. If anything comes back, who knows? It could be a complete and utter failure, or it could come out with something cool. But we'll find out when I get the film back. Bye. Okay, so we're back. We've seen the film. You'll have seen the photos, the images that I took while I was out and about. The first thing is, the mystery film wasn't a lomography film, which I thought it might have been at the time. It was in fact good old faithful Ilford FP4, which worked out really well because of any film that's got a really good exposure latitude. FP4 certainly fits that bill. So probably 10-year exposed FP4. The images, the exposures and that came out really well. The first thing you'll have noticed is that there's some weird edges on the images. Despite what I thought, the template, the insert that I had in the camera was actually for 6x9, not 6x6. So there's these weird multiple exposures on the side, which in a strange sort of way is kind of cool, but not what I was expecting. So the ISO set on the camera was correct. The little window on the back, which flicks between 6x6 and 6x12 and 6x9, and you change that was set wrong. So, but that's what you get. You pull a camera out and it's got something in it, you have no idea, you've forgotten all about it. Anyway, the actual camera itself, to be honest, the quality of the images, considering that this camera was around the $400, I've checked since I made the actual first video, it was around the $400 to $500 mark, which was quite expensive for a basically plastic with a little bit of metal folding camera at the time. And these are now selling on eBay for up to $1,000. They've become quite collectible. And to be honest, the image quality is very low. They basically have taken lomography and it's literally LOW as opposed to LOM. I was very disappointed with the quality of the images that came out. There was a couple that were probably sharp enough to be usable. The rest are okay if you look at them very small, but otherwise not. Now, that said, I am going to take this out because I really do want to try it out with the 6x12 insert in it to see how that comes out. I might try using both the 58mm lens and the 90mm lens just to see if there's any difference, see if it's a lens issue or whatever. But I will be interested to see how that comes out. But overall, I'm not impressed at all. I'm quite disappointed. I'd forgotten that the images coming out of this weren't really that great. Anyway, it was still fun. It was a fun day, and it was another camera to look at, and you can never complain about that. Anyway, until next time, I'll catch you around. Bye.